Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. Lloyd Griffith joining us for a chat in the studio in around 15 minutes' time, and we'll have a birthday spread. Before that, though, we head to Rio, look at the world of South American football, as always with Tim Vickery. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. How you doing, gentlemen? You all right?
Very good.
Yeah, big night for Estevao last night, so you never doubted for a minute he was going to do well and hit the ground running, and so it's proved. A cracking penalty last night. It must be a real sort of... They must be following how he's doing at Chelsea over in Brazil.
Most certainly are. And he is someone who already looks like he's going to be very, very important next year to the World Cup campaign. There are some, you just see him and you think, doesn't matter what it is, he can cope with it. You know, some you think, it's too soon. I mean, look, for example, at West Ham, who have moaning about not being able to spend money because of the fair play financial rules. How much did they spend on Luis Guilherme? No, and that was a player who'd scored. It's all promise, yeah, no doubt about it. But he scored one goal when West Ham bought him, Estevao comes from the same club, but you can see that Luis Guilherme was good and may well have a terrific career in the game. But Estevao is one of those few who's just on a different level entirely. Yeah. Oh, you lucky people. Enjoy him while you can.
Now, you've been keeping us in touch with the Under-20 World Cup, as you have over the years, and you've seen some sort of jewels come through that tournament. Argentina were looking sort of set fair to go all the way, but they didn't quite make it, Tim.
No, they lost in the final 2-0 to Morocco. And this is one of the stories of world football over the last few years. You know, the rise of Morocco and the way that Morocco are using the diaspora, kids growing up of Moroccan heritage in France and Spain and Belgium. And it was the same kind of model of play that you might have seen from Morocco in the World Cup. Low block, transitions and moments of terrific skill. Does it matter? Well, I think it's a huge, huge boost for the morale of Moroccan football. I wonder if the Under-20 World Cup these days is still fit for purpose, because the way that football has changed, with better pitches and more protection for talent, it means that there are so many teenagers like Estevao, for example, who are important for their clubs. And because there's no obligation to release for the Under-20 World Cup, they don't get released. So it becomes just like a random amalgamation of those players who you can get your hands on to dispute the tournament. There's some talent there in the Argentine ranks, but they couldn't count on Echeverri, the City, who's at Germany this year, Mastantuono, who's now at Real Madrid, and lots of other names. There are some good names there in that Argentina squad. The one who caught my attention most wasn't a player; it's the coach, Diego Placenti, who won this competition himself as a kid back in '97, and I think he looks very impressive as a coach, and he's in that Argentina setup. Scaloni won't be there forever. You could be looking, I think, at a future Argentina national team coach if they promote from within, because Placenti was very, very impressive.
We got the finalissima at the weekend. England playing Brazil, champions of Europe and South America. Is there much of a buzz about that over in Brazil, Tim?
There is, because where the next Women's World Cup is happening, right here in Brazil, in 2 years' time. So this is important preparation for Brazil, who are they're kings of their own, or queens of their own continent.
Yeah.
Although it was tough this time, and if England had it tough winning the Euros, Brazil in the final of the Copa America, which they win every time, Colombia kind of pushed them close. But the final, Brazil-Colombia, there's no doubt who the favourites are. It's overwhelmingly Brazil. And Brazil were seconds away from losing. And the great Marta came off the bench and scored a cracker in the 96th minute to take it to extra time, where Brazil then took the lead and Colombia managed to equalise. So it was 4-4 at the end of 120, and it went to penalties, and Brazil came from behind to win the penalty shootout. So both the champions of Europe and South America got there, won the title, giving plenty of work to the cardiologists along the way. It's a strong squad, and Marta hasn't come. And, the one thing they don't need to do is test Marta. The question is she still going to be around in 2 years' time for the World Cup? But it's a strong squad. They pushed England very, very hard in the last finalissima. which I think went to penalties, and England came through on penalties. And I think it could be every bit as hard this time round. So the game is at the Etihad in Manchester on Saturday, and I think it should be hard fought, very good spectacle.
South American Champions League, the Copa Libertadores. We're at the semi-final stage. A few familiar names and faces from the Premier League, Tim, in action.
Yeah, I was at the first semi-final last night, first leg, Flamengo of Brazil against Racing of Argentina. People laughing at me because I was wearing gloves. It's cold, there's this dreadful unseasonal cold. I want my money back. I've been the victim of a cruel hoax. Yeah, the Flamengo side includes Jorginho, late of Chelsea and also of Arsenal, just kind of ticking it over in midfield. The right back is, Man United fans might remember him, Varela, Uruguayan. He didn't stay there for very long, but he gets taken off, and who comes on? You'll remember him, Paul. He doesn't defend, he doesn't attack. He's Tottenham's right back, Emerson Royal.
Oh, yes.
Who nearly laid on a couple of goals for them. And centre back is Danilo, who at a time at Man City. So there's a few Premier League names. Racing have recently signed him, Marcos Rojo, the former Man United left-sided defender, who managed to get through to 90 without even getting a yellow card.
Wow.
Without even getting a yellow card. I couldn't believe it. Had I not been there wearing my gloves with my own minces, I would not have believed it. 1-0 first leg, so really set up for a terrific second leg next week in Argentina, when their stadium there at Racing is going to be kicking, is going to be buzzing. Yeah. The other semi-final, first leg is tonight. It's Liga of Quito of Ecuador against Palmeiras of Brazil. Palmeiras, Andreas Pereira, recently signed from Fulham. Felipe Anderson, who had a spell at West Ham. And recent signing, Ramon Sosa, Paraguayan winger, they bought from Nottingham Forest, as well as the goalkeeper, Carlos Miguel, who they just got from Forest. He might get a game as well, because the first choice goalkeeper is injured. First leg at altitude at Quito. So the onus really is on the Ecuadorians, who don't have any Premier League links as far as I can make out. The onus is really on them to take advantage of the altitude, build up a first leg lead, and then take that and defend like mad, with plenty of time wasting along the way next week in Sao Paulo.
Just out of interest, what do you call cold these days, having lived in Brazil for that long?
Shout, Paul.
What was the temperature?
Yeah, if it goes under 20, I'm calling out the national guard. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I had big heavy coat on, gloves, and people staring at me saying, he's English, how can he not cope with that? I've gone native.
Need a heated gilet.
Yeah. Cheers, Tim. Thanks very much. We'll speak to you next week.
Look forward to it. Cheers.
Tim Vickery with the latest from the chilly Tim Vickery at 20 degrees.
It's got so cold.
Now, here's your chance to win talkSPORT's biggest ever cash prize.
Good news.
As you play to win up to £100,000 completely tax-free. Plus, you get to visit talkSPORT Towers on Thursday, the 13th of November, to play for that incredible cash prize. So here is how to enter, and good luck.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.